Even those who are not very keen on studying technical subjects or acquiring scientific knowledge are aware that we now have active funding for both public and private space programs in multiple countries around the world, as well as for comprehensive strategies for present and future space exploration. There are multi-billion-dollar investments by such giants of business as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Their rocket-building companies, SpaceX and Blue Origin, are making amazing contributions to the development of the worldwide space industry. There is a relentless curiosity in our species that has compelled us to look upwards into the vast expanses of space. But the enthusiastic inhabitants of our planet sometimes forget how little we know about our own sweet home. Life on our Earth would have never appeared without the presence of water. This is a fairly well-known fact, which most of us were taught in school. This fundamental chemical compound, H2O, covers 71% of our native planet, 96% of which is oceans and seas. In 1937, we settled on dividing these bodies of water into 4 oceans and 63 different seas. Their mysterious depths have, at times, stimulated mankind's imagination and driven us to seek new discoveries in their vast, deep expanses. But even now, in this era of hyper-technological development, most of the mysteries that are buried in the depths of the sea remain unsolved. Even the mysterious dark side of the moon is better explored than the bottom of our oceans, and the vast majority of underwater objects, phenomena, and species of life have barely begun to be calculated. Mankind made significant progress in studying the underwater world with the advent of the first bathyscapes. Before this, various forms of diving were used to uncover what was transpiring in the mysterious deep waters of the world. But such studies were limited by the technology available at those times. It was possible to dive only to about 100 to 150 meters. This obviously prevented detailed study of the depths of the seas. I described in an earlier episode about the first voyages to the bottom of the Mariana Trench in a bathyscaphe by explorers Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard. Since then, several dozen other expeditions into the depths have been carried out, but this only brought us marginally closer to understanding some of the ocean's deepest, darkest secrets. Scientists report that only about 5% of the shadowy surface of the world's oceans has been explored as of today. I'm of the opinion that we must discover what is still hidden in the unexplored areas of this watery abyss. The discoveries that have already been made confound and bewilder even our most skeptical scientists. It's no secret that life originated in the water. Millions of years of evolution then selected for the first amphibian species, then reptiles, and even after that, mammalian life forms emerged from the world of water. Additionally, many species remained in the oceans and seas and continued to evolve in their own independent manner. The sun's rays penetrate into the seas and oceans only for about the first 100 meters. Everything deeper than that is in an impenetrable and eternal darkness. And don't forget that water pressure increases with depth. Such seemingly unsuitable conditions for life dictate their own terms and rules. As a consequence, most of the inhabitants of the deep sea look completely different from their relatives on the surface. One glance at the little Macropinna microstoma, also known as the barrel-eye fish, and you know you're seeing something different. This unique deep-sea fish lives mostly in the waters of the Pacific Ocean, at a depth of 500 meters. Just look at this amazing creature. First, one cannot help but be amazed at the strange creature's bizarre, transparent head. And just above the mouth, one can be forgiven for mistaking those two holes for eyes, as they seem to be in the right place. But these, in fact, are the fish's nostrils. Under the transparent dome of a head, do you see the large, barrel-shaped balls of green? Those are the eyes, and also how the barrel eye got its name. The clear liquid inside the head allows the fish to view prey approaching from above, and so they have no need to alter their body position to see such things. This is a good example of a species that was unknown to science until relatively recently, and was only finally photographed for the first time in 2004. The fact that the head of the fish simply bursts when removing it from the depths means that this fantastic creature is particularly difficult to study. There is another even more amazing inhabitant of the underwater depths. This sea animal is often mistaken for an ordinary jellyfish, but in fact, it's no such thing. Ctenophores are a separate category of creature, and it's quite easy to make a case for this unique classification. First, individuals of this species move by using small appendages reminiscent of cilia, which are arrayed along their bodies. They create a bright, beautiful glow and shimmer with all the colors of the rainbow. These sea predators are found in almost all corners of the world's oceans, and even in the Black Sea. And instead of tentacles, many of them use their giant mouths for hunting. These lovely creatures feed mainly on plankton and small crustaceans, but any glutton worth his salt will be thunderstruck by their remarkable appetite. These marine creatures can consume several dozen times their mass in food per day. The size of these ctenophores ranges from just a few millimeters to over 1.5 meters. But the most remarkable thing of all, the ctenophore is the only multicellular species that developed through a completely different evolutionary process than the rest of life on Earth. This is confirmed by their very specific and distinctive decentralized nervous system. In these unusual animals, the chemical substances by which neurons exchange information are not the same as with all other known multicellular organisms, including us. This species formed a separate genome from the rest of life on Earth and developed independently from the surrounding species 500 million years ago. The study of this amazing predator has stumped scientists, what with the ctenophore's nervous system of all animals on Earth having developed along a different evolutionary path. Intriguingly, the very fact of its existence is a clue to the possibility of creating artificial life. Not all creatures lurking in the sea depths are quite so pleasant. Our next subject is one whose very existence might induce one's blood to congeal in one's veins. The goblin shark is one of those creatures that confirms that the underwater world can be an extraordinarily frightening and alien place. From a distance, it may seem that this is an ordinary representative of the genus of sharks, possessing an elongated beak-shaped mouth. However, as soon as this creature attacks its prey, we are able to see its horrifying retractable jaws that chill the soul. Such a spectacle, reminiscent of a scene from a horror film, is simply difficult to comprehend. But, luckily for us, this real-life monster lives at a depth of 300 meters. Interestingly, the lower the level the shark inhabits, the larger and more dangerous it is. The largest specimen found reaches almost 157 inches, or 4 meters in length, and weighed 463 pounds. That's 210 kilograms. Who knows, perhaps the goblin shark served as a source of inspiration for the xenomorph of alien movie fame. But unlike the fictional species, the existence of this creature cannot be questioned. There is another dangerous creature lurking in the sea depths, which hunts its victims after burrowing deep into the sand at a depth of between 10 to 40 meters. At first glance, the polychaete worm Eunice aphrodite, or bobbit worm, is an unremarkable marine creature. But like the goblin shark, its features are revealed during attacks on its victims. Hunting exclusively in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, this worm burrows deep into the ocean bed, revealing on the surface only 5 small antennae with which it senses its prey. As fish passing by brush across the chitinous tendrils, the worm shoots up with lightning speed and snaps closed its sharp, tooth-lined jaws like a trap. Having captured its prey, which may be several times larger than the devious hunter, the bobbit's worm neutralizes the victim with poison and drags the prey down deep into its hole. Some individuals can reach more than 3 meters in length, and although there have been no reports of attacks on humans, such underwater inhabitants can turn one's blood to ice simply with their terrifying appearance. But there are places in the ocean where even such monsters cannot live. I will upset those who are now looking forward to another tale regarding the otherworldly expanse known as the Bermuda Triangle. Much has been said about this mysterious zone in the Atlantic Ocean. Yet the average citizen has no idea that one of the most sinister places on the planet, which long ago surpassed the mysterious Bermuda Triangle in bizarre happenings, is located near the southeastern borders of Japan. It's about the geo-anomalous zone called the Devil's Sea, also known as the Dragon's Triangle. In terms of size, the Devil's Sea is almost 2 times larger than the Bermuda Triangle. The zone is so named due to the plethora of paranormal activity that has occurred there. Ships and airplanes that have the imprudence to make their way through the Devil's Sea disappear here with regular frequency, much like the famous stretch near the east coast of America. But this zone can also be considered unique for another reason. Seafarers noted over the last century that living creatures are rarely sighted in these waters. Whales and dolphins are almost never encountered here. Courses navigated through the Devil's Sea are difficult even for the most experienced of sailors. And the area is infamous for sudden typhoons, as well as underwater whirlpools, which can drag even large ships down into the abyss. Perhaps these mystical phenomena are simply the consequence of underground seismic activity. The fact is that a number of volcanic islands, the Nampo and Mariana Islands, are located in the Dragon's Triangle zone, and permanently erupting underwater volcanoes are observed deep in the bowels of these wretched waters. Ufologists suggest that the cause of all this bizarre activity is the presence of a UFO sunken here long ago. I will leave it up to you to decide whether or not this is the case. I will only say that both anomalous zones, the Devil's Sea and the Bermuda Triangle, are at the same 30th parallel north latitude on our dear planet Earth. Coincidence? I think not. But the disappearance of ships and airplanes in the anomalous zones is nothing compared to the disappearance of an entire human settlement. Detailed studies of the sea shelf have repeatedly led to the discovery of structures of strangely shaped objects reminiscent of huts and houses. Most of these architectural objects were found at a depth of up to 120 meters. This is surprising, as according to scientific research, in the history of mankind, the sea level has never fallen this low. But the bigger surprise was the discovery, more than 15 years ago, of a true lost city found at a depth of almost 700 meters. The find belongs to a husband and wife pair of Canadian researchers, Paulina Zalitsky and Paul Weinswag. Carrying out research work near the western coast of the island of Cuba, they came across amazing underwater objects of regular geometric shape, evenly spaced from each other on a territory of around 200 hectares. Further dives revealed that there is an entire complex on the ocean floor of granite structures built of blocks of various length and shape. Scientists continue to argue about the reasons behind the submersion of these mysterious architectural structures even now, many years after their discovery. The age of the underwater pyramids has yet to be ascertained, as is the reason for the settlement's submersion. It has been theorized that perhaps the construction was completed by a once prosperous civilization of Aztecs or Mayans, but computer modeling of the conditions that could lead to such a rapid inundation of the now underwater city show that this process should require at least 50,000 years of seismic activity. This is, however, impossible, and none of the cultures we know of had even a fraction of the technology or knowledge of how to build something like this mysterious complex 50,000 years ago. How many unknown animals, artifacts, and phenomena are still awaiting us in the depths? It's possible that this abundance of amazing underwater creatures and phenomena have appeared as a result of what would be to us completely atypical processes that happen deep underwater. Someday we will unravel the secrets behind these unusual phenomena, and we can only hope that we won't have to pay too dearly for delving into the mysteries at the bottom of the sea.